everyone, it's Amber Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to tell you all about our trip to Iceland. As many of you know, Corey and I love to travel, and for every anniversary we go somewhere new. And one of our favorite trips that we've taken thus far has been to Iceland, and that has also been our most popular request of people asking us tips and questions and everything about where we go, and that is to Iceland. And also the past 48 hours, my most popular video has been the Blue Lagoon tips, which I will link down below. And I thought, why not start out my first travel video featuring everything about Iceland. Also, this is not sponsored by any of the businesses that I'm about to share with you, and everything is in my opinions based on our experience there, so I just want to leave that there. And if you're new here, please make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more of my travel videos. So this video is going to be broken down into getting there, where we stayed, activities, and then the food. So getting there, we took the only business I think that I'm not going to recommend, and also it's out of business now, and it is WOW Air. The only reason that I went with WOW Air instead of Icelandair is mainly the price. I think total we paid $600 for both of us there and back, so $1,200 total, $600 there and $600 back. WOW Air was a discounted airline, so they didn't really have first class, so that was the highest class, the biggest seat that you could get. The only reason that I would not recommend it was two reasons: the seat and then kind of safety in a way. I'm not going to go into it too much, but traveling international, it's always a plus to have the lie flat seats, and these were just traditional seats. They didn't really recline that far, so we didn't really get to sleep, and it was uncomfortable. The only plus about it was it was super cheap to fly to Iceland, but everything else was pretty much a negative about it. We flew into Keflavik Airport, and that is by far one of the easiest airports to just exit and enter. It was super quick, nothing complicated about it. It was a really clean airport, so that was a plus. We flew overnight, so we landed, it was almost like 3 or 4 in the morning. Also, I'd like to add, for anyone that's from North Carolina or Duke fan, flying back from Iceland to New Jersey on the row, same row as us, across the seat, was Marshall Plumley, which was cool. We actually, after our flight landed, we got to meet him, took photos with him, super friendly, so he flew WOW Air. So leaving Keflavik Airport, we took a bus, and I just want to note, we did not rent a car during this trip. Next time we go back to Iceland, we will be renting a car so we can go further east and then travel wherever we want to go. But we did take a bus, and it was super easy to find the bus. They run all hours of the night. So moving on into where we stayed in one place the entire time, and I found it through HomeAway. And while I'm going through everything, I will pop up photos. Where we stayed was in the middle kind of Reykjavik. I know I cannot pronounce these Icelandic towns, names, words, all this stuff, so a lot of these words I actually cannot pronounce, so I'll just put that down below as I'm going through them. But we stayed in a HomeAway. I would highly recommend it. The owner of it was super nice. He met us there. Like I said, we flew in super early, so he was there at around 4 in the morning when our bus got there, and the bus ride from Keflavik to Reykjavik was about 45 minutes. He was already there, he was tracking our flight, and when we got there, he was so kind to just give us a tour of the place, and he also had some groceries for us to get started, and that was super nice. I'll make sure to link that down below, as well as post photos of that. But the nice thing about Iceland is the geothermal energy from the ground, so they actually don't have heat in any of the buildings. And the temperature outside is cold, but everyone has the windows open because the rooms are heated from the floors. So that was super interesting. The floors were heated. It was just so relaxing too when you get out of bed or after you took a shower and the floors were heated. So nice. And also cool off, you just crack a window. If it gets too hot, stuffy, what have you, just crack a window, everything is fine. And as you know, we stayed in the home away, so Iceland is super, super expensive, if not the most expensive place in the world. So we didn't eat out every single meal like we normally do when we travel. We did go to the grocery store. The grocery store there is called Bonus. It was within walking distance of where we were staying, so it was nice. We just walked there, got what we wanted, walked back. We had the full kitchen, so we were able to cook and store everything. One of the big things in Iceland is skyr yogurt. So they don't really have Greek yogurt, things like that. They have skyr, and it was so good. That was one of our things that was already in the fridge when we got there. They do sell it like a Icelandic skyr here in the States. It's not the same, so when you go to Iceland, make sure to try skyr. Okay, moving on to activities. So we didn't do jam-packed activities the entire time. We did do a good amount of items, but there were some days where we just wanted to rest, so some days we just didn't do anything except walk around the town. One of our favorite things that we did was stay in the bubble, and I'm sure you've seen it all over Instagram. It was so nice, and what they do included with the bubble tour when you book it for winter, which is when we were there, is they include the golden circle. If you're not in Iceland for too long, that is something that's recommended. Everyone should go and do the golden circle tour. And what was nice, staying with the bubble, that was included, so we got to do that. And during the golden circle tour, as part of the bubble, they give you ample amount of time for each location that you stop at, and that was just really nice. It wasn't rushed like some of the other tours may have been. But our first stop was at the national park, which was so nice. It was so pretty just to see, and what's nice about taking the tour is the guide is local, so he tells you history about it as you're driving, and it, you know, transportation was included with the bubble circle, and they picked us up from where we were staying, so that was a plus. So I'm just going to time out. How the bubble works is there's 9 bubbles, and so you're only staying in the bubble with yourself, but as a group of, as a whole, it's split into multiple vehicles. So we were actually in a vehicle with 3 girls from Utah, super friendly. And after we were leaving the national park on the way to the next stop, which was the Geyser, he stopped on the side of the road and let us fill up our water bottles. I believe it was water that had melted from a glacier. Let me tell you, that was the best and cleanest water I've ever had in my entire life. Now, it was super nice. Everyone in the vehicle did it, loved it. It was so refreshing. So that was also a perk that may or may not happen if you take the traditional Golden Circle tour. So the next stop of the Golden Circle is the Geyser, and it's really neat to just be able to witness the geyser erupt. So along the path, they don't have super high fences or ropes, you know, blocking it off, because that can take away from the natural characteristic of it. They don't want to take anything away. So borders around all of these activities and landmarks and stuff, there's only a little rope. It's like that high off the ground. I'm telling you, it's not high at all. And it's just basically, you know, common sense, don't get too close. But with the geyser, it was really cool to get to witness that. I have several videos and photos from it, but it stinks when it erupts, so don't be too close. It's really hot, and it stinks. It smells like sulfur. It's just disgusting. After we moved on from the geyser, we went to the waterfall. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, Gullfoss Waterfall, I don't know. But it is beautiful, and it's a unique waterfall. It is so beautiful. And we got to spend time there, and there's gift shops wherever you go, so it's just cool to browse what they sell in Iceland. And after we left that waterfall, our last stop of the Golden Circle tour was a secret lagoon, and our tour joked that it wasn't so secret because they have a giant billboard now. But just like the Blue Lagoon, you have to shower publicly. You have to shower completely naked before you get into the lagoon, and you know, it's just to keep the lagoon clean. This lagoon, it was not as popular or touristy as the Blue Lagoon, but I liked the Blue Lagoon better just because of the floor of the Blue Lagoon. The floor of this lagoon was like, I guess, earth, so it was the rocks, and it just kind of felt weird, and the water was dirtier. So my preference still was the Blue Lagoon. Every time we go back to Iceland, we will be going to the Blue Lagoon because it's just so relaxing. And then to end the Golden Circle tour, we stopped at this restaurant, and it was so nice. I got a lobster soup. I think Corey and I actually both got lobster soup, and then for a late night snack, we also got pizza to go. But the lobster soup was delicious. And a plus about everything in Iceland, when it says fresh fish, it is fresh caught that day. It's not fresh, you know, maybe yesterday, the day before. It's fresh, it was caught that day. And you can really taste the difference too. So when you get to your bubble, it is actually late at night when you get to the bubble, and you know, they don't really have lights up. The bubble has a light, and that's how you see. But they take you one by one into your group and lead you to your bubble. It was really cool to sleep in the bubble. Now there's 9 bubbles, and then they had a little common house that had like a small little kitchen. They had a bathroom, shower, so you don't have to worry about that. But your bubble, it's yours by itself, and there is not a lock on the door. You are out in the middle of nowhere, and there's not a lock. There's 2 doors, and the reason for that is you enter one and you can take off your shoes, and then you enter the next one, and that's actually your room in the bubble. And they advise you not to open both doors at the same time because of the air. It'll actually deflate the bubble. So only one door at a time. And what was nice also before we got to the bubble is they let us know that there's not predators in Iceland. There's no snakes, anything like that, mosquitoes. So you don't have to worry about that. Entering your bubble, there's not a bear or anything. You're in one bubble, there's 8 other bubbles. They're not going to bother you, but it is so relaxing to lay on the bed and just look up and see the stars. One of the things that we hoped while we were staying in the bubble was to see the northern lights. Unfortunately, it was kind of rainy the night that we stayed, in overcast, which was not ideal to see the lights, so we didn't get to see them. But there is a Northern Lights app, so if you're going to Iceland, I'd recommend you download it, and it'll send you notifications or let you know when the prime time to see the lights are whenever you're there. So the next morning they do come back, pick you up, and they take you to this cute little bakery before dropping you back off so you can have breakfast. Something that was interesting that we learned on this tour that we might not have learned if we didn't take through the bubble. The bakery that we stopped at was known for making its bread underground because I told you the geothermal energy, they make the bread underground. Also, a fun fact while we were talking about this is they let us know that people can't actually be buried underground, like within, you know, a populated area. If they're going to be buried, it does have to be further away. So you didn't really see too many graveyards close to like popular, like Reykjavik, close to there. And that's because if they're buried and it's hot underground, it's going to start to burn and smell. So that was something interesting that we would not have thought of and maybe not have learned if we wouldn't have taken this tour. So another tour that we did was snowmobiling on top of the glacier. And I believe that they said it was the largest glacier maybe in the world. Don't quote me on that, but at least in Iceland. And that was super fun. We booked that through the website Viator. I don't know how to say that, but we booked it through that website, picked us up from the bus stop that was close by, and they picked us up in the Super Jeep, which I will upload a photo of. It was really cool, and when you get closer to the glacier, they actually have to let air out of the tires to be able to drive on the snow, but they give you the suits that you need, they give you your helmets, and that was what we actually did on our anniversary. It was so cool. I had been snowmobiling before, and I didn't really have a good experience with it, so it's not something that I had planned to do again, but Corey had never done it before, so I said, I'll suck it up, do it for him. We had so much fun. I let him drive the whole time. We went fast, and it was just beautiful to be able to see the glacier and then snowmobile on it. Super awesome. And then, as many of you know, we did do the Blue Lagoon. This is something that I recommend that you do by itself in one day, just so you can spend enough time to really enjoy the Blue Lagoon. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I have posted a video about it. I'll link that down below if you want to get more information about the Blue Lagoon, but I highly suggest that you go. So how we got to the Blue Lagoon is we took what's called the fly bus, and it took us it picked us up at the little bus stop, took us to, like, I guess their main bus stop, bus terminal, and then from there we took another bus to the Blue Lagoon. It's close to the airport, so the ride was like maybe 45 minutes. They run all the time, and I actually have a little thing that I'll post a photo of, and they have airport transfers, but this is what we did. This tells you what time they're picking up or dropping off from the bus stop, airport. Everything that you needed to know was on this cute little time card. So now I'm going to get to the honorable mentions for the activities. These are things that we did not get to do on this trip due to they were already booked up, or we just didn't have enough time with the way our schedule was. And the first thing when we go back, we're definitely going to do is the Black Sand Beach and the Diamond Beach. And the little excursion that I wanted to do is they take you to the Black Sand Beach. You take a boat out in the water, and that was something I really wanted to do. It was booked up. That's why we didn't do it. But the pictures are beautiful, and the girls from Utah that were in our group went, and it was to die for. Can't wait to go. Another thing that I really want to do is the helicopter tour, and there are so many that you can choose from, so you can really do specifically what you want. They have short ones, they have full day ones, they have, it's, you know, the hot and ice where it takes you over volcanoes, takes you over glaciers, everything that you can imagine, they have a helicopter tour for. So that is one thing I would love to do when we go back. The third honorable mention would be snorkeling through the different tectonic plates. So the continental divide, that was something that I thought would be cool. The water is probably super cold, and also I'm scared of fish, so that's kind of why we didn't book it. That is maybe something that we'll do. I highly suggest you do it if you're not afraid of fish or you don't mind cold water. They do give you wetsuits, I believe, but something cool, because where else can you do that? So the fourth and last honorable mention is a waterfall. I'm going to say it down there. I'm not going to actually say it, but this is a really unique waterfall because it is super, super tall. It's high, and it's just a beautiful waterfall in itself. But the fun thing about this waterfall is you can actually walk behind it into this little cave. And the reason that we did not get to see this waterfall is I messed up on my research, and I thought that was the waterfall that was included with the Golden Circle tour. It was not. So when we go back, we will definitely go to this waterfall and do a hike. Something that I can't wait to do. It's beautiful. Look up photos. And then also a fifth kind of one I'd like to sneak in is when we went, they finally opened up the hotel at the Blue Lagoon. That's something that may or may not interest people, but it looks so relaxing, so we might try and stay there the next time we go back. Okay, so the last section of this Iceland travel video is gonna be food. Who does not love food, right? And it's so fun to travel to all these different places and eat, you know, their delicacy or their cuisine. There's one thing that they do, you know, it's popular everywhere. You can see it at bars, restaurants, tours, everything, and it's the fermented shark. We actually learned the backstory of how the fermented shark came to be, but that is something that you literally have a bite of fermented shark and then you chase it with alcohol. And one of the people that we met in Iceland, they were like, think about it. How bad is it if they give you something to eat and then you're supposed to chase it with alcohol? I wouldn't try it. I was told if you want to try it, don't smell it, because I guess it really reeks. So don't smell it if you want to try it, but that's like a delicacy there. So I'm going to start the food off with my favorite thing, and that's ice cream. This was actually a place that was recommended from our host where we stayed. It's called VALDIS. I might not be saying it right, but they had tons of different ice cream flavors, and black licorice is super popular in Iceland. Turns out every candy that I got, everything that I got, I was trying to try something new, had black licorice in it. So don't be surprised when you see that as ice cream flavors or in chocolate bars. They love it in Iceland. So one of the things that I had mentioned is fresh fish is actually fresh in Iceland. So one of the restaurants that we went to was my probably favorite restaurant. I guess the vibe was really nice there, and it was called Got. And I got the fresh fish of the day, and then Corey got a chicken sandwich. But let me tell you, that fish was to die for. I don't even know what was under it. It was so yummy. I'll post photos of it, but I loved it. And one thing that we learned while we were there is they do not bring the bill to the table like they do here in the States. So when you're ready to go, you go up to the little cashier or the counter, whatever, and that's where you pay. So it's nice because unlike here in America, they're not rushing you to leave. You can really take your time and enjoy your meal. And going along with that, we did not take any Icelandic krona. It's not really popular there. They use cards for everything. We were able to use our card. So make sure that you have a card that you don't have the foreign transaction fees. But every single place, even little vendors like street vendors, they take cards. So that's something that you don't have to worry about when you travel there. So as I've mentioned, Iceland is very expensive, and that's because it's a small little island. They have to get almost everything imported in, and one of the things that's super expensive is alcohol there. And they actually, I don't know if it was alcohol in general or just beer, was banned until like late 80s, early 90s. So craft beer is kind of becoming popular there. And we just saw a sign for this brewery that had opened. Put the name down below, but the brewery opened. So we actually just went for happy hour. It was right across from where the ice cream was. That's how we found it. But the beer there, it was super nice. So we went to the bar, just have a drink, but we actually ended up eating there. And I got fish and chips, and that has been the best fish and chips I've had in my life. And I'm telling you, better than London, better than anywhere in Europe. This place had the best fish and chips. So nice. Corey actually got the fish and chips as well. So another one of our favorites was a bakery, and I actually cannot find the name of this bakery. We found it walking. I'll post a photo of it so you can see, but their cinnamon rolls is what was super popular there. And it's a beautiful bakery because the outside is so colorful. I love color, so that's what drew us to there. But the bakery was fresh. They were making it as we were there, and that was so delicious. So another place that we found was called Lemon, and it was actually like their fast food kind of alternative. They had fresh juice, smoothies, and then they make little sandwiches. So we got a smoothie and then a sandwich, and it was super fresh, so nice, and it was just a cool vibe and atmosphere at this place as well. As I mentioned earlier, the grocery store is bonus. So if you want to go to the grocery store, it's cheap, and well, it's cheap for Iceland, but it was convenient. And I did notice, so I still have my receipt for it, which I'll post a photo of, but I did notice at the bottom it says 3 stack 20, so 60. So we used 3 bags, and I guess it was 20. I don't know if it's cents per bag, but we walked there, so we needed bags. We didn't have any reusable bags. But total 65 Icelandic krona. That's how much it cost. So I don't know who hasn't seen the Iceland episode from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but they went to the hot dog stand, the infamous hot dog stand in Reykjavik. So we went. I had already started not eating meat at the time, so Corey got the hot dogs. He liked they're hot dogs. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was something fun, something that you have to experience when you go to Iceland. So one of the late night dinners that we got when we came home from a tour, I think it was the snowmobiling tour. We were tired, didn't want to make anything, we didn't want to go out to eat. We got Dominos delivered. Let me tell you, I don't know what size pizza we got. We got 2 pizzas, paid $60 for it. I mean, it was okay, it's pizza, you know, but $60 for 2 large pizzas is expensive. The last thing that I'm going to share with you for food is the Icelandic craft bar. This place, they had craft beer. We like craft beer. So they had happy hours during the day. And we went, while we were there, we went, you know, 1 or 2 times. And that whole atmosphere there, it was upstairs. It was so nice. You could sit by the window and people watch. You could sit and they had little back rooms. They had live music. I would recommend it. They had really good Icelandic beer. So if you want to drink while you're in Iceland, go out happy hour. That's when all the locals do. And some of the happy hours don't start until super late. We didn't go there, but overall, our experience in Iceland was one of our favorites. And while we were there, they actually opened up H&M. So we got to go to H&M the day that it opened in Iceland, and they had the cutest things that they don't have here in the United States. We didn't buy anything, but it was 2 stories, beautiful, huge store, fun, that we got to experience that on the opening day. All in all, Iceland was so magical, so wonderful. Everyone there is so friendly. It is one of the easiest places to navigate. So if you want to travel there and you don't really travel that much, don't be afraid to go to Iceland or ask for help, because everyone there is super friendly. All of the locals speak English that we encountered anyways. They all speak English, they're friendly, they'll talk to you, they'll tell you about the history, anything that you want to know. So I hope everyone liked this video of my Iceland travels. I'm going to start making videos of everywhere that we've been and everywhere that we're going. If you've been to Iceland, let me know what your favorite part of your trip was. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.